Yes, indeed. It's a great celebration, and this is what we're also heralding and urging people to just play it and as you play 528 music, and that's why we launched i528tunes.com to transpose music into 528, 528records.com. We're advancing now over the next couple months. We should have 528radio.com, where you can listen to 528 music 24/7. And what you realize once you integrate this knowledge is that it's not just you or me. This is exactly like you say. This is beaming out that frequency of love. It's like throwing a pebble into a pond and watching the waves radiate out to the farthest shores. This frequency of love is being sent out, and it is again, in the Bible, it talks about that this is the key to the house of David, that opens doors that no man can close and closes doors that no man can open. The opening of these doors, they're vortices to your heart, because this is the heart love frequency. So what's happening is you and I simply play the music, or we make instruments with the music and tune our voices to the music and put it in our water and put it in our crystals and put it into our fashions. We have 528fashions.com now. We have 528 jewelry advancing on the Healthy World store. The realization that this is where the center of creation resides and is restoring, is harmonizing, it's sustaining optimally, and it's loving. And that's what we all search for. We all want that. If you look at the craziness in the world, the degeneration in the world is primarily because we lack the relationship, the experience of love with God in communion and with each other and with maybe a significant other. And now this makes it very clear that this is all available. It's right here, right now. We simply need to choose and broadcast it, and that's what we're doing, not only on the show today, but again, as you say, every time we play music, it's not only helping and healing us, it's resonating out and touching other people's hearts. Now, you think about this for a minute. With the people who are evil in the world, or the Illuminati that has desired to manipulate, coerce, enslave, and kill humanity at will, and that's what they've been doing very successfully for millennia. Can you imagine the impact of this love on their hearts? If they don't get it, if they don't get in harmony with it, they have signed their own death warrants.
Indeed, indeed. Well, it is time for our world of truth and love, and all the fear-based can either change or leave this planet that's under new management. We're talking about the 9 tones. Let's go a little bit deeper into the 9 tones and the harmonics of those 9 tones.
Well, the 9 tones, as I mentioned, there's 3, 9, 6, 4, 1, 7. These are the frequencies, and they follow the pattern. If you wrote them on a piece of paper, one on top of the other, you can see the pattern in the columns, in the hundreds, tens, and singles column. So the 3, 9, 6, 4, 1, 7, 5, 2, 8, 6, 3, 9, 7, 4, 1, 8, 5, 2. Those were the original 6 solfeggio frequencies, and then following the pattern, you come up with 9, 6, 3, 1, 7, 4, and 2, 8, 5, and that creates the final 9 in a circle. And everything in the universe is circular, including, fractals actually in nature in the universe are circular. We think of fractals and fractal arts as square or digital, concepts, but that's not the way the universe works, nor is that the way that sound works. When sound comes out of your mouth or your flute, it goes out in a circle. And so everything in the universe is circular and spinning, and it's all because of the matrix, and at the heart of this matrix of math, that is this 9 core creative frequencies in the perfect circle of sound, create the musical mathematical matrix of the universe and the dimensions of reality. And that, again, the harmonics of this, it was your question, your initial question, everything is in harmony except for one note. That one note is the F sharp, is the 741. So, interestingly enough, the world of music that has been coerced and institutionalized with the standard tuning by the Rockefeller Foundation. And the Book of 528 spends a chapter on the cult, the musical cult control, how you can literally anesthetize or hypnotize people optimally and stress them out maximally, literally stressing them to dis-ease, to illness, psychological depression, degeneration. That is what standard tuning in A440 hertz was intended to accomplish, and along with spiritual suppression, suppressing the love and the spirit of divinity, blessing humanity, it was meant to quash that, and it has done that. And so that's 741. When you look at A440 standard tuning, and by the way, this is why musicians all over the world now and vocalists who have suddenly, a lot of them are catching on to this really fast, and they're retuning their instruments and they're redoing their, voices based on this revelation and the 528 information. This is now causing a revolution. We call it the 528 lover evolution or love revolution. And people, the musicians, can get information about 528 if they go, obviously read the book of 528, but there's a website that we have that actually plays the pure tone to retune instruments to and tune your voices to and chant with and simply listen to, and you'll be virtually instantaneously blessed with the frequency of peace and harmony instead of stress and dissonance. It's great for people who are depressed. Just listen to the pure tone and sing it, chant it, in just say like think of yourself yawning, making the ha sound. I had a discussion with Jonathan Goldman on a British radio station yesterday, because on the 14th, on Monday, there's going to be Sound Healing Day, that the Temple of Sacred Sound that Jonathan has put up is going to be hosting hundreds of thousands of people who go on for 10 minutes and chant together in ah. And our discussion was that when you do that, when anybody yawns, when anyone laughs, when anyone sighs, the ha sound is 528, because that's essentially nature. It's natural. It's intuitive. It's instinctive. It's where we come from. We come from love. And it's in the breath. That's why, again, it's so clear, like chlorophyll is the molecule that produces the oxygen. Well, chlorophyll's greenish yellow. It's vibing in 528. It's receiving the energy electrons from the sun. The sun is almost it's basically all hydrogen. There's 2% helium, which is a double hydrogen. That's element number one, is vibrating with the sound of the sun, is actually just like the Bible says in the beginning. It says, let there be light, and out pops the sun. So before there was light, there was sound. And interestingly enough, NASA scientists have actually recorded the sound of the sun now, and we know it's harmonically resonant fundamentally to 528. Well, of course it is. Everything else is. Why wouldn't the sun be? But the chlorophyll that produces the air that keeps us alive, the oxygen, that's resonating in harmony. So it's like chlorophyll in all the botanical world is tuned into the clear channel broadcast of love. And it's producing oxygen that's resonating in love. That's the ha. That's the prana. That's the breath of life. In medicine, it's called respiration. Look at the word, re-spiritualization. You're putting back the spirit of divinity, of love and harmony into us for optimal sustainability. That's what this 528 love revolution is all about. It's not just going green, it's going 528 green. It's going this greenish yellow love, where we're going to green the entire planet, because nothing is going to remain that is in dissonance. And again, from the music to the architecture to the fashions to food to medicine to energy production. A lot of the work, for example, in this field, in the advances, I credit Marco Rodin for. And Randy Powell and Marco Rodin, you've probably seen some of their work now. They're telling everybody that they can produce free energy. Basically, again, based on the musical mathematics, they call the same thing vortex math. And Rodin's math created the understanding of how the universe is constructed based on this simple math and these simple sounds. And, I met Marco Rodin, by the way, in Hawaii. I never knew his work, and he came to speak at a conference that we were hosting at the Creators Rainbow Spa on the Big Island of Hawaii near Pahoa. And Marco Rodin shows up, and he starts lecturing on his mathematics. He doesn't know it's music. He doesn't say it's music. He's putting his numbers on the board and telling us how he came up with the structure of the universe. And I'm looking at the numbers and he's putting on the board, and it's all these same numbers. It's the same frequencies of the original solfeggio. And I go, holy smoke, Marco, do you know what you've just done? You just put on the board one of your major matrices, your matrix math. It's the sixth notes of the original solfeggio. So this is how the divine synchronicities have worked. It's brought to me the most amazing geniuses. Victor Showell is another mathematical genius. We have a chapter in the book of 528. It's called Pi, Phi, and 5 to 8, because pi and phi would not exist if it wasn't for 528. The math of 528 plays a totally fundamental, critical role in measurement, in circle, the formation of the circle. In fact, there's, throughout history, there's this thing called the Pythagorean crisis in mathematics. We experience it every day or every year, certainly, when we look at our calendars and there's this thing called leap year. And it doesn't quite match up. Our time system just doesn't quite sync with the way nature works and the universe works and the sun and the planet's orbits. It doesn't work. There's something fundamentally wrong, and it's called the Pythagorean crisis or the Pythagorean comma. It interrupts reality.